All right, it's already started good. I didn't start before the recording started.
So, good night.
Welcome to the County Commission meeting for July 18th, 2023. Just a little housekeeping. If you have a phone or you want to have a conversation in the gallery there, the mics pick them up pretty well. And since we live stream it and put it on YouTube, your conversation will be part of electronic history. So you can just step outside. And if you would turn your cell ringers to off, that would be great. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Commissioner Jones.
Present.
Commissioner Rivera.
Here.
And Commissioner Gosar also here. If you'd stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd appreciate it. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I have a public hearing. I'd like to open up the public hearing for the Laramie Area Growth Plan. We'll go first to the room and then we'll go online. Is there anybody who would like to speak on or against the Laramie Area Growth Plan in the room? Okay, I'm going to move to online. Sheriff, if you'd like to speak on or against the Laramie Area Growth Plan, I think you're the only one online with us right now. Okay, in the room and online. Is anybody on or against the Laramie Area Growth Plan? Commissioners, I entertain a motion to close that public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign, please. That motion carries. Item 4, comments from the public. Let's go in the room again first. Anybody who would like to make a public comment? Thanks, Luke.
Good evening. I just wanted to give you guys an update and appreciation and thanks. This last month, we've had big strides forward with our ARPA grant funding on peer support and EAP. We had several trainings. We've got, I think, 10 or 11 peer support team members, as well as 2 team leads and liaisons in 2 different states to help support that. So we've made great strides forward with peer support within the Albany County Fire District 1, and we've even had our chaplains that are serving both Laramie Fire Department and I think the police department as well, have reached out and want to continue joint training in that avenue. And so it's really just from Albany County Fire District 1 to the county commissioners to say thank you for allocating ARPA funds towards peer support. It's going to be making already has made big differences, positive changes within inside of our community. And I'm very optimistic about future changes as well. So.
Thank you, Luke, for the update. So super excited that you're willing to do that for your folks and to approach us for the money that it takes to get that.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. And while I'm here, if you guys have any questions for me at all about anything, I know we've got some new board members, and so if I don't know, update on the fire district at all, we're growing. We've actually got a phone call from Chief Isborn out of Vidavoo this afternoon, and he said last year their call volume reached 99 total calls in his area. They just received their 100th incident call yesterday. So they've doubled their response so far this year, and I anticipate that'll continue to grow. So.
And how are the new positions working out?
Excellent, excellent. We've got, for those of you that don't know, we have 3 part-time coordinators, a training coordinator, district-wide training coordinator, Jasmine Parton. We've got a district-wide coordinator, Ben Farber, and then also a wildland coordinator, Bill Turner. Bill Turner's been working his butt off. He's been all over the state. He's been down on a dispatch to Southern Colorado, Pagosa Springs on that fire as well. And I think we've had 3 trucks out so far this year, and this year's a pretty slow season as far as where we're at last year at this time for the number of fires regionally. Ben's been doing an excellent job coordinating throughout the district to get people on board on the same page, standardizing in terms of communication, thoughts, directions, visions, goals. We've started, we're 4 years into our last strategic plan and mission statement. We've started a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, so we can move forward to a new mission, vision, and values, or reinforcing what we currently have in strategic plans. So that's what we're on to our 5th year for that. So there's a lot of good things going on in the district. And there'll be a lot of changes from the state as well. Our incident reporting will be changing. We'll be moving away from how we're doing our incident reportings and our training recordings. And so we'll be training for that into the new 24 year. Lots of things going on.
Thanks, Luke, for the update, and
Absolutely.
thanks for working so aggressively for your firefighters to support.
Absolutely.
That's Luke's name, aggressive for people.
Luke, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Annual training, do you do CPR and AED training for your firefighters?
Yeah, actually we did. We approved that this year. We have a district-wide trainer now. He's out of Waco, and we supported getting all the equipment and the instructor certification so that we can have a cost savings throughout the district instead of having to pay our renewals every year to a third-party source. We actually internalized that this year. So it's the first year for doing that. So we're doing that coming this fall, I believe, should be the end of our renewal season. So
Thank you.
absolutely.
Any other questions? Thanks, Luke. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other public comments in the room? How about online? Anybody like to make a public comment online? Last call in the room and online. Commissioners, have entertained a motion to close that public comment.
I move that we close the public comment period. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign, please. Motion carries. Item 5, disclosures. Commissioner Jones, any disclosures?
Not today.
Commissioner Barrett?
I have.
And I have none also. Item 6, considerations of changes on the agenda. Anybody need to say, make a change on the agenda?
No Bailey, no Jennifer.
Oh, yay. 7, approval of the consent agenda. Commissioners, your pleasure.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign, please. That motion carries. That moves us on to the second page on the regular agenda. Item 8, introduction of Amanda Dougherty as a new 4-H educator and update on the extension office. Brian, good evening, and Amanda, good evening. Come on back, please.
Yeah, so thanks for having us this evening. So yeah, we wanted to introduce Amanda, so I'll let Amanda introduce who she is. She started July 5th, so we kind of threw her right into everything. Obviously, county fair starts next week, so yeah, just kind of say who you are and keep going on with her.
Yeah, so Amanda Dougherty, you all know my name. Yeah, like Brian said, I started July 5th. I came from a kind of a career in research science and worked at the university, did a couple other things in Laramie as well. I've lived in Laramie for almost 19 years, so I'm not new to Laramie, but definitely new to county and 4-H and all of those things. So, but I'm very excited to be here and hope to be able to share some of my passion for science and that kind of education and science outreach and communication with some of the 4-H groups. And I have an agricultural background, so I grew up on a dairy farm in Illinois, so I have all of that under my belt, and I have a small hobby farm north of town here, so I've got a different number of critters that I deal with. So anyway.
Yeah, so Amanda's, meeting everybody. We did a meet and greet last night, which there wasn't a ton of people, but she's had a lot of people coming in and out of the office to meet her. Obviously, next week, she'll probably be very overwhelmed with everyone that she meets, so.
She'll be in the hot seat.
She's gonna be in the hot seat, yes. So, some other things, hopefully, we had an annual compensation agreement for the 4-H position, so, yeah, so it'll be, Kayla has that for you for next time, so just so you're aware of it. Some other things, I don't know, Mary Louise, I guess, kind of set a trend, so want to let you know that I've accepted a position on campus with UW as a lecturer in the ecosystem science department. So my last day with extension will be August 1st. So, sorry to leave Amanda like that as soon as she started, but so I'll still be in Laramie. My email, I don't think will change. So, if there's still something that I need to help with, I'll still be around. Obviously I'll have a new position, but I think we have a close office. So, if there's something I can help out with, I will, but just wanted to let you know that. And then obviously our supervisors, Amanda Marney and Bridger Fates, wanted to let you know that they'll be working to refill my position, and if there's something else that they can be of help with as far as the transition with that, please reach out. So, but yeah.
I'm gonna
Just-
miss you a lot.
Yeah, I will too. And I just wanted to say too, I've really enjoyed being able to work with everybody in the courthouse, the commissioners. It's been a really good experience for me. So I've been county coordinator in other places with extension and had some very interesting situations, I'll put it that way. And so I just wanted to, say thank you to everyone from, clerk's office to, commissioners to everybody that's helped out. So I
But
just
mine
really
was
appreciate it.
coming from, as a commissioner.
What's that?
Mine was coming from Terry, not as.
Oh, okay, well, that works. Yeah, I appreciate it, Terry. So, but yeah, that's kind of our update.
Congratulations on your job.
Thanks. Yeah.
We wish
appreciate
you
it.
well, and thank you
Yeah.
for everything you've done for us.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And echo that, Brian. Thanks. It's been so
Yeah.
nice working with you. And Amanda, welcome aboard. Congratulations, both of you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So, item 9, present for approval, renewal of health insurance with Cigna. Amanda, good evening. Thank you.
Hello. So we are needing to renew our health insurance for the county employees, for August 1st. This year was a lot more difficult than some of the past, just because we had some really high claims. And it's gonna affect our stop loss insurance greatly. So the lowest increase the highest increase we saw possible was gonna be around just above 16%. We tossed around different ideas of changing the plan. We got it down to an 8%, but we felt it was a little too drastic for employees. So the proposal we have for you today is gonna be around 10.5% increase. It will involve some deductible changes. We tried to keep the plans as intact as we could. IRS mandates, we have to change the high deductible one effective August 1st. It's gonna go up $200. That one's IRS required, can't get around that one. But because it's mid-year and employees don't have a choice, we are also proposing giving an extra $200 in the HSA to make up that $200 difference in deductible. And then we are proposing in December to do a mid-year plan change that will up the deductibles, both deductibles, effective January 1st. But that gives employees time to look through both plans again and decide which one's best for them. The low deductible's been at $1,100 for, I think, the past several, like 4 or 5 years. We're proposing that we're gonna raise it to $2,000. And then the high deductible one, we're proposing going from the $3,000 to $4,000. That helps a little bit with our rates, to keep those down. And then, because of the drastic increases, we are gonna propose that once we get rates finalized, that we're gonna put a little bit onto the employee this year. And not, as the county we have to keep our fund at a certain level, so we don't want to deplete that with the high claims that are possible. We don't want to be drastic on them either. So once we get that plan, we will keep you all informed of the rate proposals. But as for now, we have to do a renewal. And we can go from there. Do you have any questions on it?
If there's any questions?
So nothing will change right now in terms of,
Yeah, nothing
Premiums,
changes.
the only thing
We're
is the
proposing to
deductible.
keep everything the same, except for that high deductible has to go up to the $200. So from 28 to 3,000 effective August 1st through December. And then in December, we're proposing to do a mid-year plan change to keep our costs a little bit down, because for right now, if we keep it the same, it's gonna be that 16% increase. If we do the mid-year plan change in December, January, it's gonna bring it down to that 10% increase.
But compared to out in the public,
Yes.
this is the deal.
Yes, and I know Anissa did a bunch of research with other entities within the county, within similar counties and across the border and things, and our rates are actually, for employee wise, are amazing. And our plans are pretty good with some of the comparisons that we were looking through. And yeah, and the county has not increased. This is amazing. Also, the county hasn't increased the employee portion for 10 years. We've had really consistent rates until now. We're gonna have to do a little change because we have absorbed any increases that.
Anytime they want to go look and try to get their own insurance, tell them to have at it. And they're gonna come back and go, thank you.
Well, I really, as a member of the health management team, I'd really like to thank the rest of the health management team for really working this over. There'll be much more to come as far as wellness programs, and we'll present some ideas to make wellness more of a paying proposition for
Yes.
employees. And there's just the part that we can't escape, the stop loss. And that is kind of tying our hands, but not having raised the rates in 10 years is pretty remarkable. And then Amanda, Kayla, and the consultant made a presentation to the department heads and elected officials about, was that 2 weeks ago, a week ago?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
And so we wanted those entities and those people to know firsthand, so that if somebody asked them a question, they would be conversant. And some of it will have a final here coming up in a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, so. Anything else?
No, that's.
Okay, and so we just need to approve the health insurance with Cigna is what.
That we're gonna renew, yeah, with the, what we called was option one. It's the high increase for the next few months and then switch to that 10.5 increase in December.
And just one more thing, I think probably begs the record. We did look at joining the state health insurance
Yes.
plan, which was something that's available to us. There's a minimum 5-year commitment. Rates very similar, if not a little bit higher. And then if you leave, you have retirees that continue on even if you're not on the health insurance plan. And so it's a bit of a commitment and one that didn't seem to pencil out
This, yeah, for now.
for now. Yeah. That all will be available to us.
I move that we approve the renewal of the health insurance with Cigna. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you, Amanda.
Thanks, Commissioners.
10, acknowledge receipt of the request for Title III funds and direct the clerk to advertise. Caleb, good evening.
Good evening. I have the public notice ready to go to advertise for Title III funds. I got 2 requests in, one from Chad and one from Aaron. And they normally just split the amount. Of course, Chad's goes towards fuel mitigation for fires, and then Aaron's is going for requesting to repair and replacement of equipment for search and rescue. So what will happen is I will advertise. It has to advertise for 45 days, and then it'll come back on September 5th for a public hearing, and then at that time you can allocate those funds. So.
Commissioners, any questions? Not, I entertain a motion for 10, please.
I move that we acknowledge receipt of the request of Title III funds and direct the clerk to advertise. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item 11, present for consideration, the Laramie Area Growth Plan. David, good evening.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. First, before I go through a brief summary, I wanted to point out that Jennifer Gardner from Logan Simpson is on, and I'll give a little bit of time to her if you guys are okay with that after I get done through my summary, just to address a few points about the growth plan, and then she'll be here obviously to answer any questions. Also, Planning Manager Teeny, who is back there from the city, is the co-manager on this project. So if you have any questions or anything for him, he's here to help out. So yeah, the growth plan began quite a while ago. So an intergovernmental committee was formed by the Board of County Commissioners and the Laramie City Council to address growth around the city of Laramie into the areas outside municipal boundaries. The direction of the committee approved by the City Council and the Board of County Commissioners was to work collaboratively to define a growth area in the rural-urban interface, create policy recommendations in this area, provide recommended regulatory implementation strategies, and draft a city-county growth area management agreement. Logan Simpson was chosen to assist with this project. A contract was signed in on February 15th, 2022. The scope of the project includes the following: review and consider modifications of the city and county comprehensive plans, establish growth boundaries, provide policy recommendations for development within the defined growth area, review of existing regulations, statutory authority and procedures, and provide recommendations for changes to the regulations, and develop a city-county growth area management agreement for future consideration. So the project was broken into 4 phases, each phase building on the last. The phase 1 was a data gathering phase. This phase included collection of existing information from city and county staff, a field visit to important properties around the city to identify challenges and opportunities to future growth. Over 50 in-person interviews with community stakeholders were conducted. They were with major landowners, contractors, realtors. And then there was 2 online questionnaires that collected more than 200 responses during this phase. Then move on to the second phase. There's a technical analysis of important data that was done, population projections, utility fiscal assessments, and land use constraints. And then 3 growth scenarios were presented to the public in a series of public events, including the downtown farmers market and the county farmers market. Freedom Has a Birthday, Laramie Jubilee Days, and County Fair Night. And then there was also an online questionnaire presented with 3 different scenarios for folks to look at and provide comments. That gathered around or over 50 responses. Phase 3 and phase 4, that's kind of where we're at now. It's the development. We created this plan. We're developing standards, the review process, and a joint growth area intergovernmental agreement. And work in these phases will be finalized once we get the Laramie growth area plan finalized. So there were joint work sessions held after the plan was created and some open houses. The joint work sessions were with the Planning and Zoning Commission and the Planning Commission to go through, answer questions, review what's been done. And those were held in last fall and early this year. And the open houses were for the public. So we had some open houses that a couple of them gathered quite a bit of public input. There's quite a few people that came to those. So the City Planning Commission has approved the plan. Planning and Zoning Commission recently voted to certify a recommendation of approval to the Board of County Commissioners. During the Planning and Zoning Commission, there was quite a bit of discussion, and there was comments expressed about the desire to remove the delineation of the growth area boundary east of the city of Laramie and aquifer protection area. But ultimately, they left that in there. Member David expressed some concerns with the map and the need for additional clarification in the plan. The vote was 3-4, members Platt, Kokornik, and Hanning, and then 1 against, member Ben David, and then Chair Hinckley was absent from the meeting. If approved by the Board of County Commissioners, the Laramie City Council will consider the item. We'll probably consider it anyways on August 1st, their next meeting. So with that, I'll turn this time over to Jennifer to add or clarify anything that I just said.
Good evening, Jennifer. Welcome.
Great. Thank you guys for having me. David covered most of what I would have said, but I'll add a couple of items here. We do have the current draft of the plan out for public review right now. We've only seen comments from 3 different community members. We've had about 475 people open that link, so people are reviewing the draft. So that's good to know. Let's see. Want to highlight that all the outreach that we did was handled both in person and a digital form, like we were just saying. There were many questionnaires that were paired with all of the outreach that we had throughout the process. And we did follow up with many of the stakeholders from phase 1. We were able to reach back out to several of those stakeholders in phase 3 here before we went through these work sessions and hearings, to just kind of bring the plan back out to those initial stakeholders and landowners to get their kind of final buy-off and so on with the plan. I just want to highlight a couple of other kind of key facts. This is the first true growth plan in Wyoming. There are a couple other growth area plans in a couple of other communities that are very similar, but not exactly like this one. And it's not a comprehensive plan, but it does support and is supplemental to the city and county documents and comprehensive plans. I think you probably all know, but it's not a regulatory document, but it is going to be a fantastic tool for the city and county to use moving forward as growth happens in this area. So yeah, I'm available for any questions that you have. Thank you.
Commissioners, any questions? No. Jennifer, I have a question, and I guess it would just be based on ignorance of growth plans a bit. For instance, if you wanted to consider bike pathways to schools that were safe for kids and their parents or whoever was taking them, is that generally considered in a growth plan, or is that something that happens after?
I was muted. Sorry about that. Oftentimes, that will be part of more of a master transportation plan. It can be paired with a growth plan or a comprehensive plan, but typically I see that outside of that in a separate document, considering all types of transportation.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah,
David,
absolutely.
I guess I have a question for you. What does this, if this were to be passed by both the city and the county, what does this afford us? Why would we do something like this?
So this plan being passed by both the city and the county gives us the opportunity to be on kind of equal footing. So as we move forward, as things develop, we both are working off the same roadmap. Instead of having different roadmaps and different rules and different ways to go, it gives, it just really just gives us that kind of basis to work from as two governing bodies and to work together in a collaborative way. I think that's one of the biggest benefits of this is just having that roadmap that's the same.
So streets and subdivisions that might be in the county now, if they might line up with the city if it were to be annexed. So there wouldn't be a big elbow from a street, or sewer lines and water lines would be planned so that they would meet up at.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just that's a useful thing to know, because I think those things, when they get right angles in them, I know they break, they become really expensive. You have to plan them out in the future. Any other questions? Awesome. Derek or Philip, is there anything you'd guys like to add? I so appreciate you guys being here. Thank you. And thank you for being part of the booth, David, your team, Joe. I saw you guys out in the booth, the Jubilee Days and the fair, and so it was nice to see.
Chairman and commissioners. I think just once again, similar to the conversation we had a few weeks ago, we're in this position now where the city and the county are looking at adopting the same plan, right? And this is the growth plan today that we're talking about. And I think that this, sets the stage, like David was saying, for hopefully following kind of the same idea of what our expectations are. And we know that for our development community and for economic development in our county and in the city, having that predictability is important. Just as we were mentioning earlier too, the chair was, planning for some of those broader things like roads and sewer lines and water lines, although it's not exact in this plan. Having the general idea of where those things are going to be will be very helpful for the people that own those properties. And as we continue to grow, which that's what we're seeing in the city and the county. And so hopefully this helps set the stage to being as prepared as we can at this point. And I look forward to talking to our council in a couple of weeks here too, to have the same conversation with them. So I think that's really about all I have. David covered it for us.
Awesome.
Okay, thanks.
You bet, thank you. And Jennifer, my one question for you is, I think initially they had thought that this growth plan might do 20 or 30 years of development at our current rate. Is that something that's still thought today, or is that accurate?
I think this plan is intended to cover kind of that time frame. Yes.
Thank you. I entertain a motion if there are no more questions for item 1.
I move that we adopt the Laramie area growth plan. I will not vote to subjugate the landowners in the county to the authoritarianism of the city.
Wait, second. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
That motion carries. Thank you guys for your work. Thanks for the year and a half of time. Jennifer, thanks to your team for the plan, and we'll look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Item 12, present for approval, contract between the Board of County Commissioners of Albany County, Wyoming, by and through Albany County Human Resources and Grand Avenue Urgent Care for drug testing services. Anissa, good evening.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you. This is just a replacement of the contract that you approved about a month ago. We found a pricing error. And so we're just bringing the contract back to you to approve. This is our random and our pre-employment drug testing. So.
Was the price difference more or less?
It was $200 more. So.
We can handle it.
Yeah. So basically it's their random pulls. They pull a Department of Transportation pool and a non-Department of Transportation, and the contract just signified $200, and it's actually $200 for each random pull. So 400 total.
I entertain a motion for that. If there are no further questions, item 12.
I move that we approve item 12 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye. Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thanks,
Thank you.
Anissa. 13, present for approval, invitation to bid for purchase and delivery of 2 mid-sized 4-door all-wheel drive sport utility vehicle with trade-in and direct the clerk to advertise. Caleb, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. I am coming before you again, so we can put this out to bid. Hopefully, Cammie and I are going to mail out the invitation to bid to a bunch of dealers in Laramie and of course in the surrounding areas and ones that we've worked with in the past. So hopefully we can get somebody to bid on these 2 vehicles for us. I don't know what the holdup is. I don't know if it's the timing. So I'm hoping that us sending them out, maybe having them come back and ask questions, maybe we'll get more information from them as to maybe if it's a timeline thing. I'm not really quite sure. So hopefully we can get somebody to bid on it. So.
Kayla, you might call Lindsay out at Weed Best.
Oh.
Because she goes somewhere and she gets
I
vehicles consistently. So
wonderful. We
give
could
her-
call out and
give
ask
her a
her,
call
yeah,
and
because
say-
maybe she has a dealer that she works specifically
she
with.
does,
That's great
she
because
does.
Jennifer said once we advertise it, we can send it to anybody. So we're
Give
gonna
her a
send it
call.
out to someone. We will give her a call. Thank you, Terry.
Any other questions? Yeah. Not an entertain a motion for 13, please.
I move that we approve item 13 as presented. Second. Direct the clerk to advertise. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
We want you to get that done.
I know.
Second too.
Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye. Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item 14, present for approval, application for catering permit for Yasu Inc., doing business as 3rd Street Bar for Tom Horn Days to be held at 1515 Two Rivers Road, Bosler, Wyoming, on August 11th, 2023, from 5 p.m. to 12 a.m., August 12th, 2023, from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m., and August 13th, 2023, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Caleb, please.
Chairman, Commissioners, this is a catering permit for Tom Horn Days. A lot of the times they just do a malt beverage permit, but they're just gonna have it fully catered this year, which It's kind of nice for them. They can take the liability off of them, puts it on Third Street's bartenders. But what will happen too is the city is approving a letter to allow Third Street to use that license in the county as well. So it'll come through after the fact, but everything is good to go.
Questions about that? Now that is motion 14.
I move that we approve item 14 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Now motion carries. Item 15, present for approval, application for catering permit for Wycola Lodge LLC, doing business as Wycola Lodge, and for the Wyco Volunteer Fire Department fundraiser held at 3987 State Highway 230, Laramie, Wyoming, on August 12th, 2023, from 11:30 a.m. to 3 p.m.
This is another catering permit. This is one of our liquor license holders, so everything's good to go. It's their annual fundraiser that they do up around Wycola for the volunteer fire department.
And we actually didn't see that application, just the check.
Oh.
Well, that's okay. I'm just,
Thank you.
it did come through
It
your
did
office.
come through. Yes, it did. Yeah. Is it on there? If not, I can send it to you. So you
On it.
Okay. Any questions? I entertain a motion for 15.
I move that we approve item 15 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you, Kayla. Item 16, reappoint Aaron O'Doherty, Tracy Fletcher, and Tim Sullivan to the Community Service Block Grant Tripartite Board of the Elected Official Sectors for a 3-year term. Tracy Fletcher, thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm here wearing 2 hats as the elected official county treasurer that will be hopefully reappointed, and also the chair of the CSBG Tripartite Board. So that's a tough one to say this time of the night. But Aaron O'Doherty will represent the city council as an elected official there, and Tim Sullivan, who is a former county commissioner, has been your designee for a number of years. So I'll answer any questions that you may have.
Commissioners, any questions?
No,
Entertain
sorry.
a motion for 16 then, please.
I move that we reappoint Aaron O'Doherty, Tracy Fletcher, and Tim Sullivan to the Community Services Block Grant Tripartite Board of Elected Officials Sector for a 3-year term. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Yeah, is this something that Tim still wanted to do?
Yes.
He did?
Yes,
Okay,
and that's why I think during budget, I don't know if you recall me asking you guys, he was more concerned whether you guys still wanted him to be your designee. Your designee.
He didn't want to do it, he let us do it.
Any further discussion?
No.
Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye. Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you.
17, present for approval, First Amendment to the agreement between the Board of Commissioners of the County of Albany, Wyoming, and Long Building Technologies, Inc. for HVAC services and maintenance for Albany County. Jennifer.
Good evening, Commissioners. This agreement is an extension to the agreement that we signed in 2021 after the RFP was received, or response was received by Long was the only company that responded to the RFP at the time. This extension is a 2-year extension that reflects a 3.8 or approximately 3.8% increase in costs for each of the next 2 years.
Commissioners, any questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion for 17, then, please.
I move that we approve item 17 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign, please. Motion carries. Thank you, Jennifer.
Yes.
You do the next one.
I'm filling in for Chad too.
Okay, awesome. Item 18, present for approval, contract between the Board of Commissioners of the County of Albany, Wyoming, by and through the Albany County Fire Ward and Flaming Tree Solutions LLC for update of the Community Wildfire Protection Plan. everything.
Yep, at the last meeting, we approved the award of the contract to Flaming Tree Solutions. They were the respondent in the RFP that Chad put out for the update. And what you have in front of you tonight is the actual contract.
Is there any questions?
I have-
Yeah, for 18 then.
I move that we approve item 18 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye. All right.
Aye, all opposed, same sign, please. That motion carries. Item 19, present for approval, a quote from Advanced Network Solutions for the purchase of rubric backup appliance and software in the amount not to exceed $159,975.09. Take your breath away. What was
Yes,
that?
yes. So it is our renewal year for our Barracuda backups. They have not been pretty much in any form to what we expected nor what we need to carry forward, especially essentially as our safeguard and our fail-safe towards our data here at the county. Rubrik is one of the top end players associated with backups with a strong provision and security as well as ransomware recovery and a ransomware focus. The tools, so this is their complete package. This includes everything from their ransomware recovery aspects to threat hunting to data sensitivity. I know we've had those conversations and the need for a data review across the county. It includes data sensitivity, data classifications without impacting our production systems. We just look at the backups from there. Essentially, this will be well-paid money when an event occurs. It's not so much if anymore. No matter how hard I fight, as you guys see time and time again, it's based on at this point just the products and the 0 days that continually increase. Rubrik offers a $10 million essentially insurance policy against their package and this package that in the case that we are susceptible and they can't be recovered. Joining us today is Martine Espinosa and Danny Page, two engineers, sales engineers with Rubrik, if there's any additional questions. Could have maybe approached it a piecemeal, but we didn't have a need for all of the components associated. So we thought it would be a good time. This is their end of year, end of quarter, the best time to look at it as well as any renewals going forward. So we thought it was prudent to approach you now with this funding coming from the infrastructure percentage base. What are we calling that now? 1% infrastructure or something like that.
1% IT specific purpose.
Thank you. Yes, I know we had some budgeted in the standard budget, and that may take an initial front end, the extra coming from that, or we just pull entirely, waiting on those different numbers. So.
And what kind of time frame are we looking at for this?
Issue a PO and they would ship the product. I haven't asked exactly if it's on hand, but last I knew inventories are pretty well recovered. So we probably say within the next 2 to 3 weeks, giving us timeline to implement and have well duplicated backups before our end of year with Barracuda.
Is this for the 3 years, this 159,000, or is it 159 a year?
That is for the 3 years.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Mr. Page and Mr. Espinoza, could you tell us a little bit about the rubric and what makes it so good for us? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us. Yeah, again, my name is Martine and I cover accounts here in the Pacific Northwest as well as Wyoming. And yeah, I mean, as Adam mentioned, and as we've been working with the IT department, Rubrik's very security focused. You know, that was built into the design back when the company was founded in 2014, 2015. And we've only we've only improved over the last couple of years, helping local state and local governments. We're working with the state of Wyoming as well as Laramie County and a couple others in Wyoming and the rest of the country, and really making sure that we're fully secure. Adam's going to have the tools that he needs to understand, what to recover, how they can recover as fast as possible, and that way your county, stays resilient and you can stay operational in the event of a ransomware attack. But anything you would add there, Danny?
Yeah. I mean, those are all good things. I can just reiterate all of those things as well. I mean, to date, we now have well over 5,000 customers in the United States, and not a single one has paid the ransom. These days, this is just kind of exactly how ransomware attacks go down. They go in, they target backups. We do more than just keep backups safe. We allow you the ability to make it not that very, very painful process that is just overall bad for just about any city or school district, which is what Martine and I specialize. We take all of the pain out of that and we make it an easy process so that you get your data back, you lose the least amount of data as possible, and your critical data isn't unavailable for too long as well. So you get up quickly and efficiently as well. And we do that with all the tools that are in place by understanding no real way to get insights into where that sensitive data, things like personally identifiable information, maybe HIPAA data, employee data, things like that might exist within that infrastructure. If attackers get at that, how do we know where that data is? Or if attackers don't get at it, how do we know where that data is? These are one of the tools that are in place in the package that you're looking at here today. So we have the whole shebang in terms of protecting you from ransomware, keeping you from actually having that bad event that's going to really kind of cripple certain cities and school districts, and we give you the ability to recover as effectively as possible.
You guys own your own data storage sites, and are they in the United States?
So we do have data storage sites. As it stands right now, the solution we're looking at is related to appliance that is going to exist on your premises. So it's going to exist within the county in the data center. And those are well secured in a lot of different ways, such as no ability to delete the backups, no ability to move laterally from a production environment into a backup environment and get at those backups, multi-factor authentication, all of the security measures that you want in place to keep what we would call the last line of defense there against ransomware. Those are all there. So as it stands today, yes, we do have some data center. We do have a data center footprint that exists within Azure and multiple different locations that are all within the United States, but also Europe, but you get to choose which of those you want to put them in if you so choose to put the data there.
Thank you, guys. Any other questions, commissioners? Adam, what kind of timeline are you looking at implementation to your start to finish? Do you have any idea?
So that's kind of one of the kind of totes when it comes to rubric. There is a little bit of professional services mixed into this, about just under $5,000, and that's working with them on a remote basis to set our entire backup strategy. I would suspect, I mean, they'll tote, up and running within 30 minutes. Feedback we've gotten from other counties as well as the university do convey that exact premise. It plug in, ready to go. And by design, it's ready to rock and roll. I'd say by a day to work out all of our, we call it an SLA, but think of it as a backup job, the policies associated with that, where it's going, how long it lives there, setting. And most of that conversation is going to come down to just reviewing our internal retention policies. Currently, the solution with Barracuda is too small. We've outgrown it. This is about a 40 to 50% usable space jump, as well as the offsite vaulting. So that'll give us a bit more retention on site. So I'd say a day to rack, stack, get it ready. Most time will be set well on the network at most, and whatever revisions we need to make with the rubric professionals.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Martine, for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for the time.
I entertain a motion for 19 if there are no questions.
I move that we approve the Polk and Gas Network Solutions for the purchase of rubric backup appliance and software in an amount not to exceed $159,979.09.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you all. I look forward to using your product. Thank you, Adam.
Great. Thank you.
Item 20, approved payroll vouchers for July 2023.
I move that we approve the payroll vouchers for January, for July 2023. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Seeing no more business before the Albany County Commission on July 18th, 2023, I call the meeting adjourned. Thank you so much, and we'll see you back in August, I think, August 1st, at 9:30 here at this